We are in the military gallery. The military gallery is entitled Double Victory, the African American Military Experience, where we interpret the American military experience through the lens of African Americans. First thing that we have in the gallery is called the Wall of Service. Now, the Wall of Service is the entrance to the military gallery. And what the Wall of Service is, it has more than 75 battles and campaigns beginning prior to the American Revolution to the present that African Americans have participated in. When you get into the military gallery has thematic sections, but it also has a chronological sweep. And the chronology starts with the American Revolution and it goes to the War on Terror. And each section has a specific design. I have what we call bookends. At the beginning of every section, we have an intro panel which talks about that section and the service of African Americans. And at the end of each section, the American Revolution, we have an area called Impact and Legacy, which talks about the why. Okay, African Americans served, but what did that accomplish? How did it change anything? And so in between those two bookends, we have a host of artifacts and a host of images to allow us to tell the story. But I like to get to the American Civil War because this is where the gallery begins to become artifact rich. Hard to get artifacts prior to the American Civil War, especially with provenance to African Americans. But just like the larger society, which is segregated, the military is also segregated. So when you get to the gallery and you start with the wars of American expansion and you go to World War II, it's a segregated military. And we talk about those inequalities, yet the willingness to serve. We have been very fortunate to receive donations from individuals who have gone to their attics, their footlockers under their beds, and they say, hey, I have this artifact. Are you interested? And of course we're interested. On this side, we have three thematic areas. One talks about women in the military, another talks about loss over time, and another talks about leadership. One of our sacred areas in the military gallery is the Medal of Honor lens. And so what we do here is we interpret the story of all 89 African Americans who have been awarded 90 Medals of Honor. So in the military gallery, we wanted to have that one artifact that resonated, that one kind of Hope Diamond effect, if you will. So we made the conscious decision that although we are telling the story of all 89 African Americans who have been awarded the Medal of Honor, we were just going to have one Medal of Honor on display so people can come and see what the current Medal of Honor looks like. Throughout the gallery, it is not a linear story, it's very complex. When you're telling a military story, an American military story through the African American lens, and you're weaving in those social, cultural, political, and economic threads, it's not going to be a linear story, it's going to be complex. And so the museum and all museums exist to whet an individual's appetite. And hopefully that individual will see where a curator, you get 25 words to talk about this artifact. You get 25 words to talk about this image, where we probably called that down from an article or a book or a primary document. So it's to whet people's appetite and cause them to perhaps go out and read more about this period and these individuals.